this. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to rumble?
Get a smile.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Coming to you live from the greatest city in the world, New York City, is Model Railroading Live, the number one show in the world, the number one modeling railroad show in the world. And it's April 8th, 2020. And we have a special guest tonight, a dual guest tonight. But before we get to that, I have to do some homework. I was instructed to do some homework. So I want to give you guys a heads up. I want you to know that Model Railroading Live is a truly professional, and we spare no expense on anything. So I have my trusty cardboard for all my notes. Next week, April 15th. Oh, no, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I do apologize. April 14th, we're going to have the Build show, the BUILD show with Andy Crawford. We have absolutely no idea what Andy's going to be doing on that show, but it should be interesting. Anything Andy puts his hands on, by far, it's a matter. Just tune in next week, April 14th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Build show with Andy Crawford. And then on the 15th, that's the next day. That's how it usually works, the 14th and the 15th. Have the Weathering show with Ralph, the Mudfather Renzetti. Sounds like a wrestling name, doesn't it, guys?
Yeah, right.
It is Ralph, the Mudfather Renzetti.
Or a bad gangster name.
Or a bad gangster name. I think he'd prefer the bad gangster name. Well, he's going to be weathering a locomotive next week, and that should be interesting because anytime that Ralph takes out the weathering powders and takes out the brush and puts that rubber gloves on to start weathering, bingo, you got yourself a show. That's a good show. And then next week, April 15th, we're going to have Dave Thurston on from the Crooked River and Eastern Railroad. Dave has been so kind to acquiesce to come on the show. Acquiesce means yes, he wants to be on. That's the second biggest word I know besides delicatessen. But in all fairness, I just want to address the elephant in the room. I know that a lot of us are dealing with this COVID-19. In all seriousness, now, this COVID-19. I myself have been duly affected by it. We are truly in the epicenter of this in New York City. My sister and my brother-in-law have it. My other sister, Stacy, has it. A good friend of mine that I worked with for many years, Charlie St. Bernard, unfortunately, he passed away from this complications of this. So it is a very sad situation and a very sad situation that we're in this whole world, what we're going through in this time. But, I'm a man of faith. I believe Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. Not pushing this on anybody, please. Send your emails all to me if you have a complaint about it. But I'm telling you, he's still on the throne, my friends. He's still on the throne, and he's the answer to everything. So I'm praying for everybody out there that you be safe, a hedge of protection around each and every one of you guys out there. Though the weapon may be formed, it will not prosper against us because God is true. He's going to work through this. Don't worry. And for all you out there who've been affected, family members and stuff like that, sympathy and heart goes out to you. I know I'm a little scared because I have my sister Stacy. She's in a nursing home and she's ripe for this and she could pass away. And so far she's hanging in there. She's being a real tough Irish girl and she's holding her own. So with that said, we're going to move forward with this show. We're going to have a good time and thank God for this hobby. This is the greatest hobby in the world. Ain't that right, guys?
Yes,
Absolutely.
it is. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So we're going to have a good time and we're going to enjoy ourselves. And before I even start, I'm so sorry. I just want to keep it going here. I do, just in case you guys were wondering, Scott's here.
All right, Scott's here.
Okay, Scott's here. Scott's not in the bathroom anymore. Scott's not sitting at my table anymore. Scott is here. There's Scott. Scott, hello, Scott. Scott is here. So not to worry, guys. Everything is under control now. And tonight's guest, tonight we have our second father and son team. That the gentleman in the back is Wally. Hello, Wally. The young man up front is George, and they're from GFW Trains. That's their YouTube channel, GFW Trains. And these two guys do O scale.
Yes.
Yes. So welcome to Who's Big Bill Talking To?
Well,
How
thank
are
you
you
for
guys
having
tonight?
us.
Well,
Bill, thanks for having us here.
well, it's our pleasure, our honor. You know, our honor. So let's get started here. First and foremost, George, the little backstory behind this, guys, is that I couldn't sleep. I was perusing YouTube videos and came across this GFW, and I see this kid on there with his little R hat baseball cap on. Got his little baseball shirt on, and he's over there, and I didn't have the sound on, but I seen him like waving his hands, and he was visiting a thing, so I clicked it on. I'm like, oh, look at this kid, man. He's better than me. He's Mr. Showman up there. He was like going on. He was traveling. They went to a couple of layout visits of O scale, and they were paying. So I had to get on and get these guys on, and I sent them an email like 3:30 in the morning, and then I went to bed. And I also put my telephone number in the email, and I saw them. And the next day in the afternoon, I get a call from the dad, and Wally in the background, the guy with the beard, and he's like, "Yeah, Bill, we'd love to be on your show. We'd love to do that. We watch you. You know, we watch the MRL channel a lot, so we wanted to be on your show." And I just want to say, George, you were really an enthusiastic young man. You really do. When your dad films you at visiting layouts, you really have a good art of getting into the thick of it. You're not afraid to talk. You're not, some kids your age are like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
But you get involved. How did you guys get involved in model railroading? What's the genesis of this whole thing?
Well, it all started when my grandpa, I think he was about 3 or 4 years old, he got his first electric train set. And when do you think that was? How long ago?
We computed out it was about 1946 is the epicenter of the train disease.
Yeah. And, so my grandpa just carried it over to my dad, and my dad. Well, I didn't really have a choice, but I don't mind not having a choice. But I adapted the hobby.
It seems to be a generational affliction in our family.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to get to that. So go on, George. Continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And so we've my first train trip was I was 4 weeks old, and we went on the Empire Builder to Seattle, and to a train convention, and
Model train show for the Train Collectors Association.
Yeah. So and we've just been traveling across the country, going to cool train layouts, going to cool train conventions, and rail fanning everywhere, pretty much everywhere. And
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And now, and getting on now, your railroad. You have an old scale railroad. I can see that you guys are sitting next to it. And this, I meant to say earlier, this is the second time we've had a father and son team on who does model railroad. And the first one was the Neely Historical Railroad with Don G and his father John, and everybody else, and Jim, and everybody else who is involved in that, and Scott. Scott, just keeping it real, guys. Just Scott.
Right on.
Scott's a big part of that. So,
hey, we lost our camera feed here. Do you see us on?
A refresh.
All right.
There they go. They went off air. But in the meantime, let me answer some of these questions. Some of you guys posted some stuff on here, so let me get to them. Rail Artist, good evening from one and all from wild, wonderful West Virginia. Yay, Rail Artist, welcome. The Crooked River, Eastern Railroad's here. Jim Tedesco's here. ON30 Dave is here. Who else is here? Dave's Hobbies and Things. Hi, the Crooked River and Eastern Railroad, he says. Too many Daves in this. Troy Sempton's greetings. All, how is life treating everyone? Dwight of Northern Star. Yeah, I'm going all the way down. It's a New York kind of things where Scott's around. We just had him on. And I just lost everybody. What happened? No, I'm here. That was my fault. Ralph Renzetti says, hello, how are you? Staying safe? Yes, we are. Troy Simpson, thank God for hobbies to keep us sane. You got that right. Let's see. Dwight of Northern Star Railroad Line, keep calm, build models. I'm thinking of, Troy Simpson says, I'm thinking of adding a mesh tent to my layout for my town folk. I think it has to be a little bit more than a mesh tent, Troy. I think you got to kind of like plexiglass it, you know, just in case. George, that's George's dad, I believe. Yes. And DB Tech, hey, there's George and Wally. Hi, George. You guys. Dwight of Northern Star says, railroad line says, gee, Bill, you're pretty tall. How can you jump over yourself to get ahead of yourself? Oh, I don't know. Laugh, laugh, laugh. Hey, there they're coming back, boys. There they are.
Right.
There we go.
All right, just one. We got you back. Can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm just going through some of these intros that people have been putting up for us. Human City Junction says hello to everybody. Possum Value, howdy, folks. Oh, Michael Lambertino, hello, Mike. MHO Junction, Eric Hall says hello. Hi. Troy Simpson will keep you all in our prayers and send best wishes and a speedy recovery. Thank you so much. Dwight of Northern Star Railroad Line says, when shopping for food supplies today, $300 plus $300 plus Arby's and McDonald's, stayed in the car, have a heart condition. Wife did it all. She's a keeper, Dwight. She's a keeper. Eric Hall, IMRO.com. I'm here for you, Bill. I hope this is the beginning and not the end. Hi, Johnny. No, it's the beginning, brother. We're staying functioned here. Everybody's saying hello, 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 hi. And in the review, in the Indian, look at me. I'm going too fast. You guys work when you're working. I'm trying to work on my speech. Indian Head Valley Railroad. Hi, Bill. The Lego Geek. Hey, guys. Hey, George. Lego Greek. You know.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
All right. Hey, Willie. He says, hey, Lego. The Lego Geek is here. Rock Island 652. They're back. Yes, they are. Dave Piper. Does George still have his grandfather's first train?
Well, it's at his house currently, but yes, we do have it still.
Bill, we always try and we always refer to our train collection as a satellite display area, shall we say, for my father's train collection. We just want to give him the opportunity to further display his trains at our house.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Werderich #1. That one's a tough one to get out of the house.
Human City Junction says, how many times do George and Wally change their shirts in a day? This is the second shirt I have seen today.
Yeah, 3 times currently.
My wife thought she was that I was yelling at her because I was wearing such a loud CN shirt this afternoon.
Yes, we'll get to that. I want to get to so much, but I just want to get these. Your dad George W posted, you have to advertise with the shirts. There you go. TC18. Our trains. All right there, back online. Carolina Foothills Railroad, D Knight, hello all. George W says his grandfather tries to keep his trains.
Nah, it's a long-term display, or I believe in World War II they called it Lend-Lease.
Whoa, okay. Now, getting back to your old scale railroad, and what you have a fictitious name for this railroad. What's this old scale railroad called?
So it was funny you asked about that the other day, and we really hadn't thought about a name yet. And the name that we put out there was the Yorkville, Chicago, and Eastern.
The York. Okay, so and what is this now? This what we see here behind you. This is primarily the beginning stages of a layout that you've built, that you are in the process of building. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what is it that you want to accomplish? What are you looking to do?
Well, we're looking to build a Christmas layout, and the plan is these nice white walls behind us. They're gonna be painted. My grandma, she's a real good artist, or that's something a hobby of hers, and we're planning on her painting a mural on the walls around here on from the journey from Yorkville, where we are from, to New York. So.
Okay, now, yeah, how many rails do you operate? Two rail,
We have 3 rail.
3 rail.
Mhm.
And for people who don't understand what 3 rail is, could you just give us a basic?
Yeah. Actually, I have an example. But 3 rail low scale is you got the two like outside rails which the wheels run on, and then there is a middle rail but which you can like hardly see, and there is a pickup roller on most of the engines where it gets its power from the middle rail. So.
Okay. Dave Piper wants to know, do you have conventional or command control?
We operate both. We currently are trying to work on operating legacy DCS and a WIU, or a Wi-Fi interface unit, and then we have the option to run conventional as well.
So just to fill in a few blanks there, we have stuff in our collection that's conventional, and we have stuff in our collection that's command, both Lionel command and Mike's Train House command. And with our new layout here, we've tried to incorporate all of the different manufacturers' command systems. So not only can we run on conventional, but we've got Lionel, TMCC, and Legacy set up, and we've got Mike's Train House TIU that operates off of a Wi-Fi signal, so we can operate the layout off of an iPhone.
Before we go any further, I'd like to step back just a little bit and talk. I really do. It's a 3 generational. And what's your grandmother's name, by the way?
Her name's Anita.
Anita?
Anita.
Anita. Hello, Anita. If you're out there listening, MRL, we say hello to you, and for your nice contribution to painting the mural. Once this COVID-19 gets all done and said with, I'll send you a ticket for you and your husband, and you guys can come to New York and paint the mural for me on my wall. We don't have that kind of money, so we'll have to do a fundraiser. But anyway, what I'd like to do is get back to your dad, Wally. Your dad has been featured in a few O-scale magazines. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. We had the opportunity, or actually, a couple years back, time flies. About 2001, we built a train layout in the basement of his house, and it's an O scale, a 3-rail O scale layout, and it's been featured. It had a bunch of people come over, including Roger Karp, the editor of Classic Toy Trains, and he loved it. So I think he followed up and they did a feature of my father's layout in Classic Toy Trains, and then following up that, Tom McComas in TM Videos heard about the layout and came over and did the layout, and it was featured in his Lionel Nation series on Lionel Nation Part 5.
Nice. And your dad's been in the hobby since, you said, 1948?
46. That was 3 years old when he got his first train. Yep. And
Yeah. What is the next question is Dwight of Northern Star Railroad Line says, nice to see youth in the hobby. Very true, yes. And Iron Fox 7 wants to know, how long have you been working on your layout, George?
That's a good question.
Well, we've been working on it for about a year and a half, but it's been really, really slow process. I'm not a handyman by trade. You know, there's some people in the hobby that are real handy and like to do stuff. And by nature, I'm not that person. I'm my dad put it the other way that we learn more by breaking things than actually doing.
This is absolutely true. This is absolutely true.
So we've been lucky enough that with the stay at home that George and I have been really putting in some time and getting the train lab going. In about the last 4 weeks, we've got it up and running and the command system going. So this is still just a basic version of what our ultimate goal is.
So for you guys out there in the community that are home and during this time of confinement and quarantine, you guys on the GFW Trains YouTube, you do a live broadcast every day.
Yes.
Yeah, every day at 3 p.m. we get online and we've developed a pretty good group. Wouldn't you say, George?
Yeah. We get a lot of regular members that come back, and we have a good time. We run trains, talk about trains, and
Talk about everything.
yeah,
really. It's quite
everything,
fun.
but mostly trains.
Right.
Yeah, no. You guys do a good job of it. It's interesting to watch, and at 3 o'clock, it's at that time too. You know, we're at that point with this quarantine where we're starting to bite the leather strap and and then you guys come on at 3 p.m. and I'm telling you, you infuse so much enjoyment and such a fresh perspective on things that it's just nice to watch and to listen to, and everybody who joins in. So that's a good thing. So 3 p.m. every day. And what is it called? What do you name it? The Friends Hanging?
It's just every day we'll have a different title, but you remember
GFW Stay at Home Running Trains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you got to be home, this is a good place to be
Yeah.
because these guys are a nice little.
We enjoy it. So, Bill, one of the things that I do have to say, which I think has been kind of a fun byproduct, being someone who's a little bit older than George and in the hobby, and also wanting to get younger people involved, there's been kind of a younger crowd that's come and hung out with us daily. You know, guys that can relate to George. And I don't see the chat right now, but some of the names that you've been calling up that have been making comments are quite. They're George's friends, and that he's met doing the YouTube channel and the hobby, and it sounds like there's a bit of a younger following here today. With some of our usual guys that are right around George's age, give or take 4 or 5 years. So
Yeah,
that's been fun to hear and see.
Yes, good. Hey, we have something here from your dad. It says, "Hi there, it's Anita here. Happy to see you, my friend." Well, hello, Anita. Welcome to the channel. And you have such a great son, George. Good kid you got here, and a great grandson. You should be very proud of both of them. And you guys live outside outside of Chicago, is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
We live in Yorkville, which is I would say it's about an hour outside of Chicago. Right. We live right where the suburbs of Chicago stop. You go towards Chicago, and it's houses all the way till you get to Lake Michigan. You go the other direction, and it's farm fields.
Yeah.
Okay, Dwight of Northern Star, he says, daughter-in-law is from Niles. My son went to the University of Chicago 10 years ago. Granddaughter born at the University of Illinois, Chicago. I know it very well, he says.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to Chicago. It's like a cleaner version of New York.
Yes.
But less fun.
And windy.
Windy, yes, the Windy City. Yeah, I went to Wrigley Field. When they say the friendly confines of Wrigley, they really mean it.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. Chicago's a nice place to live.
Yes, it seems to be.
We always talk that if you're a railroad guy, that Chicago is amazing. It's kind of the epicenter of railroad history, and there's so many neat railroad things going on here all of the time.
Well, yeah, that was really like the crossroads in the United States. I mean, New York to Chicago, Los Angeles to Chicago, from the South, Miami up, from Georgia up, all of a sudden, and it all crisscross right to central Chicago.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
funny
this
you
is
say that.
Chicago stockyards. You had the Chicago train yards, and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of history. A lot of. Do you guys on your railroad now? You guys are doing this Yorkville, and it's going to go to New York City towards the back of you. Are you guys going to do a single deck, or are you going to have a double deck?
So there's going to be a deck on top of here. As you can see, the bridge over there, that's where you can see the incline start to go up. And yeah, so this is just the first level of our layout.
Nice. So you guys really do have your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be able to share pictures in a little bit, but when I show you the layout that we built in my father's basement, we're trying to kind of model off of that. We built one, and we built a home run right off the bat. It's an amazing layout. And,
Right. Yeah, you guys have series of pitches here, don't you?
Sure. Let me see if I can pull those up.
Dwight says that what a great train layout at the Museum of Science and Industry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did a video on that not too long ago. My school did
Cool.
did a field trip to the Museum of Science and Industry, and we made a YouTube video while we were on the field trip. But yeah,
Fantastic. It's a HO layout, Bill, that they've got there it shows from Chicago going out towards Seattle, and it's amazingly displayed. It's in the Museum of Science and Industry. So let's see here.
That's your dad?
Yep, that's the three of us. That's the three generations there. My father, George, and myself.
yeah.
And that's at a train show where we were at the Train Collectors Association Midwest Division's train show. We go there every month. They've got a monthly meet, and we've got a lot of good friends through that organization. Yeah. It's been a neat spot where George has been able to meet and network with a lot of fascinating individuals, not only in the hobby but just
Life.
Yeah, right. So working through these pictures. So that's the three of us. My father, he really his hook in the hobby is post-war Lionel.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of what got us started. And we really enjoy and like post-war Lionel. My son is the one that's kind of not only appreciates that, but loves the modern aspect of the hobby as well. So he's been kind of bringing us along and being able to see us through his perspective on model trains. Isn't that right, George?
Yes. I do like the modern stuff, just the way it looks and the way it operates as well.
So I'm going to fast forward here through a couple of pictures. I'll get back to those. So this is my father's layout, the layout that we built in his basement. Can you see that one?
Oh, yeah.
So we got a little bit of work to do, huh?
Yep.
So
you got a lot of work.
So this, and you can see in the background the mural, like we were talking about, that my mom painted. And over on the left of that picture is the Rocky Mountains, and just outside of the shot is the Pacific Ocean. And in the back corner there is a two-level scenic mountain area. As we go to the right, you can see more of the urban Chicago area. So, oops. So here.
Go.
So there.
What's that bridge in the background?
So that bridge is the same one that you see behind us. It's a lift bridge.
Yeah.
Lionel lift bridge.
Oh, okay. And does that one work as well?
Yeah, it operates. It's actually really neat. My grandfather, these are real. They're known for not working too well, and we're fortunate to have two that actually work real well, and we like to operate them a lot.
Oh, cool. Human City Junction says, "Is that Wonderland?"
Yeah.
So
it's my grandpa's Wonderland.
Yes. Right. And if you see in the upper right-hand corner, this picture is kind of dark, but that's the Chicago skyline back up over there. The Chicago skyline, and this is kind of a blend city of where my mom grew up, where where we are at, Bartlett. It's just a blend of a lot of different cities there, and the layout from the Chicago side then goes through the Rockies to the other side, and we've blended in a lot of different themes about my family and our family in the layout. So
nice. In the upper on that photo there, in the upper right-hand corner, you can see a is that a jet or a twin prop engine?
twin prop, it's a Convair 580. My father is a retired professional pilot, and he flew for Northwest Airlines, Republic Airlines, and North Central Airlines. And one of the airplanes that he flew was the Convair 580, and that's what you see up there in the right corner.
Nice.
So
John 2618 says that's an awesome layout, George.
Oh yeah, my grandpa takes pride in it. That's for sure.
So in this one, you can kind of see from the corner of the layout, looking to the middle of the layout, and where you can see in the background, it kind of tells the story. The background goes from the city to kind of the plains area, and the Mississippi River is supposed to run through the middle of the layout, and so there's some river features back where you see the lift bridge at. So
yeah. TDF line says Grandpa George's layout is one of the most fun layouts I've ran trains on.
That is true, Tim. Very true.
That's from TDF line.
So TDF Lines is another young man who's a couple years older than George. Tim, I apologize if I screw up the age. I want to say he's about 19 years old, and he's grown up in the Train Collectors Association, and kind of been one of George's buddies throughout the years in the hobby and collecting trains and operating trains.
And what's his TDF? What is his name? Tim?
Tim, yeah, his name's Tim.
Hey, Tim, how are you, brother? Welcome to the MRLL. Who's Big Bill talking to? Nice to have you on. Let's see this. You Are Naked 4 says, complete with the departure out of Midway to boot.
Yep. So, so this is that one. I think I've got one last picture. So this one here, for the people that have been watching our live streams, we've got a old station like this on our layout as well. And we want to one day, like we keep saying, it's in the beta phase. It's in the beta phase. But one day we'd like to have it set up a lot like this. And again, you can see the two airplanes in this one, the Convair 580 in the right-hand corner. And then up on the top is a DC-9, which is another one of the airplanes that my father flew.
Oh, okay. John 2618 says, I need more space ASAP.
Yes.
OL. If anybody has seen John Farrington's layout, he has a shelf layout.
It's an amazing layout, that's for sure.
An amazing layout. Yes, go check out John 2618. He has an amazing layout. Nice guy too, on top of everything else. And
he's an airline pilot too. Is that right?
Yeah. Well,
yes,
he's a
is.
Professional pilot. Yep.
That is correct. He is. He is a professional pilot. Jerry Santarella says, break the news to your wife.
Yes.
Well,
I know.
my wife.
For anybody out there who, this is a shameless plug, but for you guys out there, if you want to know how to negotiate with your wife, go to South Brooklyn Railroad. That's my channel, and look up one of my videos. It's called The Art of Negotiation.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
And apparently you two have seen it.
Yes.
Now, Wally, as a husband and a father, am I not spot on with that? The Art of
100% right.
See, so go on to you don't have to subscribe. You don't have to do anything. Just go on South Brooklyn Railroad and look up The Art of Negotiation. I will say no more.
All right. So let me see here some of these other pictures that we've got on here. Going back, those are the ones that we took of my father's layout. And going back, so that's us. Before we built this layout in the basement, one of the things that I really wanted to do is get, as soon as George was old enough, to have a layout for him to operate on. So I made him a little post-war layout that was small enough for him to get at and lean over and operate. And these are some pictures of the very first train layout that we had in the basement here that we built for George. And that's all post-war Lionel on there. That's my dad and my son, and that's in the room where we have the layout now. So there's another one.
That's a good start.
Yes, yeah. It was a very fun layout, that's for sure. A lot of it always kept you busy, that's for sure.
Absolutely, I believe it. I believe it. You know, George, you are really truly a blessed young man to have such a.
Oh yeah, yes.
Oh, you know that, right? That's good to have such a grandfather and a father who really take the time and the effort to invest in you, and that's a good thing.
Remember that, George.
Yes, remember that. Let's see. Nice depot. It has those Jarvis Hunt arch windows. Juliet KCUS. I'm not familiar with KCUS. Kansas City. I guess a train. Jim Tedesco, true, but good advice might be beneficial. All right. On the
So this is us when we started building the layout, and as you can see, most of the layout is supported from the wall. And you can see us drilling these 2x4s to the wall. That was a very. It might not look like much, but that process took a long time. I remember that very same day we went to Menards to grab all the lumber that we used for the layout, and that was the very first piece of bench work we put up. Man, it took us forever to put up. It felt very good once it was up, though. That's for sure.
yeah. Why did it take so long?
Just because I didn't really know what I was doing, and it was trial and error, man.
George was about to say his dad didn't know what to
Oh man, but
So then this is when we first got the area behind us all laid out, and in fact that 4x I am sitting on right there, that's from the original layout. And one thing we like to do with our layouts is whenever we tear a layout down, we try and keep like something of the bench work
of course
that layout and incorporate it into the new layout. And
sure.
Funny thing about that piece of wood has been on 3 layouts, I think.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, so that was originally on my grandpa's HO layout before he started before he went back into modeling O gauge. And so that was on the HO layout that he had, and then we put it on my post-war layout, and now it's on this layout as well. So.
And how did you acquire this room in the house? What was?
Well, I guess that's where you have to find a very forgiving and loving wife. I built the house, and the day that we built the house, she knew that I was going to be that I wanted a train layout in the basement. So, I have been with my wife for 28 years. God bless her, and we've been married. We just had our 20th anniversary this last year, and the good news is that she's been with me since for the long haul, and they knew about the train layout, or I'm sorry, the love of model trains and the addiction of model trains since we first started dating. So at least we had that going for us.
Oh, good.
So.
Good.
Here's here's us at Milwaukee Train Fest, I believe. Or actually, no, that's at World's Greatest Hobbies. So we also belong to a modular layout that is an offspring of the Train Collectors Association. And
George, can I pipe in there? So the Midwest division of the Train Collectors Association has a group within that club that sets up a modular layout, and that's what this is. Go ahead, George.
And so basically, this is us. I think right after setup, we just got the layout set up, and I think we had just gotten trains running, and everybody was all excited because it took a very long time to get trains running. But
I'm sorry, George, not to cut you off, but this is kind of a neat concept. In the group, various different club members have small suitcase-sized portions of a layout. We all get together at train shows and put together our portions of the layout to make a huge layout that we can display and operate trains on.
Yeah.
And that's what the layout in the background is there.
And so every member that helps set up the layout has from 1 to about 16 modules that they put together. We personally, we have 4 modules that we bring to the shows, but we have friends that have up to like 16 modules that they incorporate in the layout, and it's really cool. When we go to a train show called the Milwaukee Train Fest, and we have our biggest layout, and that's always so fun to operate on just because of how huge it is. You can run like 3-4 trains on one track alone, and it's a task, but it's also really fun to do.
Cool.
A lot of fun with the Train Collectors Association,
Yeah.
Midwest Division. That's for sure.
And you get, okay, is that you, George, behind there?
Yeah, that's me. So this is a series of one of our friends' modules, and he's got a small little yard that goes off the main line, and he lets me switch on there a lot. So that's me switching on the small little yard that he's got going on over there. But yeah, that's one thing I do like about that layout is they can do whatever they want with their modules, and we have people that have like huge yards that they've made, and then we have people that have made like industries and stuff like that you can like switch on and also run your trains at the same time. So it's really fun.
Cool.
You know,
Cool.
I'll tell you, one of the cool things again from the next generation, from him being his father and also being a model railroad enthusiast, that George being a young man, the younger generation, kind of they hang out together. So we've got a couple of guys, George, Tim, and some other young men in the group that operate these trains, and that generation, they just gravitate towards them, and they do a really, really good job of being ambassadors of the hobby, which is a neat byproduct of this modular layout that we have.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very good.
So I think this was 2 years ago. This was actually looking at these modules. This was a series. Well, a friend of ours has a yard that he puts together, and you can see here that you can see the cab forward that I'm looking at, and all these kids club cars that were from the 1999 Train Collectors Association convention in Chicago. But that was actually one of my favorite trains because the friend that owns the yard that this train is on owns, I think, about 40 of those box cars, and he puts them all on this layout, and it's a crazy long train, and it's always fun to see which engines can pull it and which ones can't.
One of my best. I'm sorry, Bill. Go ahead.
No. I was just complimenting as you go through the photographs. It's very, very interesting. I love the steam engine there in the bottom left-hand corner of this.
Oh yeah, that is actually 1218, the Class A.
Norfolk and Western.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very, very, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys like operating on with the old scale? Do you like doing the steam, or are you particular to the diesels?
It doesn't matter as long as it's a train.
Okay, good answer. Good answer.
So George, why don't you tell them about this picture?
So here, we went 2018. We went to the Train Collectors Association convention in Rhode Island, and it's funny too. So the modular layout that we have, we made it off the standards. Do you remember
the National Model Railroad Association?
Yeah, so we made them off the standards that they had for making modules. And when we went to the Train Convention in 2018, I came across a group, more like I stumbled upon them, who have a modular layout very similar to ours. And the cool thing about it too is they're all kids making like the modules and running the trains on these modules. So it's funny too. When we went up to them the first time, we asked them if I could help and like build their layout. And I honestly think that they thought I had no idea what we were doing, but it was so funny because everything was so the same from our layout to theirs, and it just fit right in. And I met a bunch of my friends that I still talk to today.
Where are they from, George?
So they're from New Jersey, and the Somerset 4-H Train Masters is the name of their modular group. But yeah, they're a group through 4-H, and you can see me and some of my buddies that I met while I was down there. But yeah.
John 2618 says, my hometown is of Somerset.
Yeah, we were on the stream earlier today, and he said something about that. That's really cool.
Yeah. And you guys, what's that, John? Oh, 52 minutes, yes.
It's already been 52 minutes?
Wow.
No,
Wow.
we got time.
All right, well,
You Run Naked Force says once he gets into high school, girls, he'll forget how to spell trains.
all right. I'll run through these real quick. We've got a little 7.5 gauge.
Yes, I was just going to come up to that. You guys have a 7.5 gauge live steam. Is that correct?
So we own a Santa Fe NW SW9, and it's real fun to operate around. We belong to a small railroad club called the Prairie State Railroad Club, and it's really cool to sit on the trains and operate them like they're a real thing. And one thing that's really cool about it is the main line runs by the one of BNSF's main lines, so it's really cool. And here's my engine next to a really cool Northern that is behind me, and
we'll bring our engine around to different railroads around the country and drive it on there.
Yeah.
How heavy is it?
Well, it's really heavy.
It's heavy, yeah. But it's funny too. It's heavy for us, but I mean, it's one of the lighter engines of.
Right. It probably weighs about 300-400 pounds, but it is one of the lighter trains.
Yeah.
And I'll get the last slide that I've got on here is a consolidation of a good friend of ours, Bill Kubernis, and that thing is that I don't know how much that thing weighs, but
yeah. It's when it comes off the track, it's a pain to put back on. But here's me driving the steam engine, our friend Bill Coburnis's steam engine. It's Northern Pacific number 84, and it's fun. It's really fun to drive this engine. I mean, it's live steam, so everything that's from the real steam engine is just miniaturized into this engine. It's really cool to operate. It's coal fired, so you got to shovel the coal in the firebox, make sure the water's at the right, or there's enough water in the boiler, and it's a real cool learning experience running one of these live steam engines. But
yeah, DB Tech says that's freaking cool.
And we also own a small little speeder. And there's me giving my grandma a ride around the railroad club we belong to.
I had to put this one in here because I knew grandma was going to be here, and we got to give her props because she's the nicest lady in the world. Well,
absolutely. Absolutely. And TP Tech says, in the same vein of his first one, I need one of those in my backyard.
Yes.
And Jim Tedesco says, we all do, TB Tech.
So that's all the pictures that I have there. Let me see if I can get this back rolling into the. There we go.
Scott Thornton says, I'm very encouraged by Wally. It's so neat to see a father really engage his son and other kids with a hobby. I noticed on his Facebook page they are scouts as well. Well done.
Yeah. I am a life scout currently working for my Eagle. So
nice.
Real good program. I enjoyed it a lot. I know it's another good father-son bonding experience, that's for sure.
I believe it is. I believe that it is. That's a good thing. God bless you guys. Hold on for one moment. It's 9:48 p.m. and here's Scott from the Nearly Historical Railroad. Hey, Scott. Gotta have Scott there.
That's right.
Scott's good. DB Tech says seriously. Okay, now he's got the serious tone in his question, so I won't get that. DB Tech says seriously. How did you get started in those, and where do you find one?
Well, actually, so the train club, the Train Collectors Association that we belong to, they had a picnic at Illinois Live Steamers, which is a 7.5 gauge railroad that we have friends within like of their club, and some members of their club are part of our club. So we have a picnic out there, and we've been going to those picnics for years and riding those trains. I'd always wanted one. My dad's always wanted to get one, and we've always contemplating on getting one. And we met a friend of ours at a garage sale who was selling some trains, and he found out that we like trains, so he showed us he's currently making a Pioneer Zephyr in 7.5 gauge, and we got talking to him. We got to talking to him, and we went on a trip to Grand Rapids, Michigan, where they have the third largest 7.5 gauge railroad in the United States there, and he let us drive his trains around this huge layout. I think it's about 3 miles of track, that mainline track that they have there, and it's just amazing. And then we saw the NW2 or SW9. We saw that for sale there, and my dad, I had no clue he had bought it, but when he bought it, he told me, and I was just shocked, and it was really cool.
And what does it run on diesel fuel?
It runs off of gasoline.
Gasoline,
yeah.
okay. And can you explain what 7.5 gauge means? What is that?
Yeah, I think it's just the distance between the rails.
Okay. So it's 7.5 inches. I would
Yeah.
assume that's 7.5 inches. And you run naked for says, when my backyard grows up, it wants to be their yard. Yeah.
Well, I tell you that we've got a normal sized yard, and just to dovetail into what he's saying, around the country there are different clubs that have these layouts
Right.
for running those railroads. So we don't have we've got those trains in a trailer, and then we take them to the different layouts around the country, the different railroads around the country. We've got one that's about 15 minutes away from our house in a city park, and we belong to the Prairie State Railroad Club, and that's generally what people in that particular segment of the hobby do, is that they belong to a club that's got a layout that's relatively local, but then they can take their trains and then hop around the country and drive on other people's railroads as well, or other clubs' railroads as well.
Right. DB Tech wants to know, what Briggs and Stratton engine in there? 5 horse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Briggs and Stratton.
Oh yeah, it's a Honda low 5 horsepower engine. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
And in the speeder we have a Briggs and Stratton engine as well.
Our Train says, I tell you, live steam is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Mine owns a 3 Canadian National Devos, a part of a club 10 miles away from my house. If you haven't been to Live Steam Club, check it out there. Cool.
All right, we'll do.
Fantastic. Yeah, I agree.
And DB Tech says, okay, I got it. Why run naked for says, our trains, basically exclamation point with a question. Does your friend need another friend? That would be him. Our trains. That would be our why run naked. And DB Tech says, next project.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. I'll tell you, man, this was really good.
Well, we enjoy sharing. That's part of it. Bill, it's been one of the fascinating parts, wouldn't you say, about like the stay at home and running trains is just meeting all of these other people, meeting you.
Yeah. It's real fun. I enjoy sharing my hobby on YouTube with everybody else, and it's real fun, get to learn about trains while also expressing or sharing my knowledge about trains as well.
And very extensive knowledge, I may say. I hope you know more about American history and pass your regents as well as tests that come your way in math.
I might be doing research during trains during my social studies class.
Ooh. My wife is a math teacher. She wouldn't We snatch that magazine right out of your hand. George and Wally are great. DB Tech says, meet a lot of great people. Yes. Odd Trains. Wow, that's awesome. Odd Trains. Hey, yes. Hey. Oh, he's answering why run naked for. He has he has an open why run naked for. He's got 2 trailers with the CN logo painted on the side.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and Human City Junction says, I do not have a yard. Yeah, Human City Junction lives up in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. He lives in an apartment building, and he's got a small area to work with.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him to come on the show, but he wants to get 100 videos under his belt. And then he's going to come on Who's Big Bill Talking To. He's got a really, if you guys got a chance, go to Human City Junction YouTube channel, subscribe to him, check him out. He's got a T-track module that he's working on. And his latest video was putting up the retaining walls with the paper brick. And it looks,
wow. Yeah.
And you should see the electronics that he has underneath the T-track module. So go check out Human City Junction.
His layout and other ones like it, Bill. Those are the ones that give me inspiration. They also scare me too. Like I said, I'm not a handy guy by nature, and I see all of these amazing layouts, and it's just
I know. And then you get like, oh man, I want to do that. I want the guy to come out of the building, and yell.
Yeah, exactly.
And then how do they do that, And he wants 100 subs?
Well, then go subscribe to him.
I'm sorry, he wants 100. Okay, he wants 100 subs. So then that's a call to battle now, gentlemen out there.
So yeah, go subscribe to him, and then you can see him featured on Model Railroading Live.
Exactly. So he needs 100 subs. I'm sorry, Heath. I totally misunderstood what you said the other day. So that's the battle cry, guys, out there in the community. I instruct you all to give a shout out to Human City Junction. And Human City Junction says, I am at 80 now, so 20 to go. So it is up. This is it. This is the battle cry. Tomorrow, when you guys get on your live stream,
pump that out.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Pump that, baby. Pump that. I'm going to do a video later tonight. We're going to pump him. Pump him. You guys out there, pump him. Pump Human City Junction. We need to get 100. So John 2618 says, so Human City Junction, you'll be on next week?
Hopefully.
No, I got Dave on next week. Dave, I promised Dave, so Dave will be on. But we'll get you in there, Heath. We'll get you in there. Opportunity to talk to Heath the other day on the phone. He lives in Manhattan in New York City. Like the rest of us, he's quarantined to his apartment with himself and his girlfriend and his dog. And it's crazy, but he's holding his own, and they're holding their own, and working through it like the rest of us. Troy, you said something in regards earlier about the shelter. I'm having a hard time understanding what you meant by that. If you could elaborate on that, I'd be more than happy to talk about it, but I'm just not sure what it is that you're talking about. Please forgive my ignorance on that. Troy Simpson, hey, Bill, at the end of the show, can you tell us real quick how the shelter in place is going in New York? Thank you. I'm not too familiar with what you're talking about, Troy, so if you could just please refresh my memory, I would greatly appreciate it. Oh, the shelter-in-place order by the government. Yeah. Well, what the Governor Cuomo and what they basically want, and Mayor de Blasio, is really not really a strict quarantine of having people stay in, a quarantine staying in. Over here in New York on the local channels, they keep putting it out there. The commercials come on one after the other. City Health Department, the lady that's in charge of the City Health Department, stay home. They'd like us to wear masks now and gloves if we go out into supermarket. I just got a notice from Lowe's saying that if you need essential equipment, like if your toilet's broke or your roof needs to be temporarily repaired due to a storm coming, please come out and get those. But if you want to paint your house, stay home. Don't do that. Don't paint your house. Don't come out for that. Anything that's essential, they want you to get, like groceries and the pharmacy. But everything else, just stay at home. And if you do go out, I know that when we go out, I go out with gloves and a mask on, and I do the social distancing. In my local hardware store, they have tape on the floor marked every 6 feet and stuff like that. So right now, it's not pretty mandatory, but it might get there. And I hope it doesn't. I really, truly hope it doesn't. I hope everybody, adheres to the 6 feet thing. The problem is I'm a retired transit worker, and I still have friends that are in the transit authority and in the operating personnel, and they've been hit because they don't have enough crews. They don't have enough conductors and train operators to man the train. My friend Hector Torres, who works the F line, the IND line, he came in the morning and he saw midnight. There were only 3 midnight crews working on the F line. Three crews. That's from Stillwell Avenue all the way to 179th Street. Get a chance, Google New York City Transit Authority subway map and see where that line goes. It goes all the way from the south all the way up into Queens, New York, and there were only 3 midnight crews. So that means there was like 2.5 hours between trains that were traveling on the midnight along the line. And that's bad. And why is that bad? Because then if there's 2 hours between each train, that means there's a packed train.
Oh, yeah.
That social distancing ain't working because now the trains are packed because people going to their essential job. So it's pretty. And Human City Junction says the A, the C, and the E lines were suspended today because of that. And he's right. So I have a friend that goes to work. She travels from Coney Island. She gets on at Bay 50th Street. The train is packed. She'll wait for the next one. She's 2.5 hours late. She works at the hospital, NYU Langone Lutheran, and she's 2.5 hours late every day. And her supervisor's telling her this is unacceptable. And she said, "Well, I'm not getting on a crowded train. That's it. End of story." And so anyway, but hey, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. You guys really uplifted us today with all this stuff that's going on. It was a fun time. I really enjoyed
Thanks for having us,
thank
Bill.
you.
Yeah.
So,
Let's-
Bill, I have to hate to invite myself over, but I'm really sad on the inside that my father didn't get a chance to be a part of this. And when I might have to ask that when we get the chance to get over the curve and social distancing goes away, to reconvene with all three of us over at his house with that layout that we showed you some pictures of.
Absolutely. I'd love to have your father on, and I'd also love to have your mother Anita on too, as she's a painter by hobby and stuff. That would be great for her to come on. And Jerry Santeria said here in Philly, the SEPTA suspended a lot of lines. And George, your father, says Chicago is running regular train schedules, so there are very few on subways and metro. Yes. Thank you. Jerry says, good show, George, Wally, and Bill. John 2618 says, great family. Human. Thanks, George and Wally. Great to see your spirit on Who's Big Bill talking to. Very good show. You run Naked 4. Rock Island 52. Nice chat, guys. Good job. Keep them rolling and stay healthy. Dwight of Northern Star Railroad Line. Thanks to the guest tonight. I am sure the boy will be an Eagle Scout soon. Yes.
Hopefully, yes.
Yes, I do believe he might. Yes. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being on. It was great. Just to give you guys a heads up, April 14th, the Build Show with Andy Crawford will be on next week, April 14th. All these shows at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So he'll be on. And then on April 15th, we're going to have Ralph. Ralph is going to be on April 15th. So that means that, okay, Ralph will be on next week. Ralph the Mudfather Rossetti on Weathering the Locomotive. He'll be weathering the locomotive. And anytime he puts his hands on any kind of weathering powder and turns that brand new toy into an old beat up looking, great looking engine, is worth to see. I love the transformation that Ralph does. He's an artist. That's April 15th next week. That would be, let's see, April 15th, I think Cohen, we're getting bumped. Yep, the 22nd is when me and you, Dave Thurston of Crooked River and Eastern Railroad will be on. You got to keep Dave Thurston in your thoughts and prayers because he works in a hospital and he's a surgical recovery nurse, and they made his thing into an ICU, so he's working with COVID patients as well as they come in. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers as he does that. But we're going to have the Crooked River and Eastern Railroad, Dave Thurston on. That will be the 22nd of April. Sorry for the time change, Dave. I'll give you a heads up on that in an email. I'll call you. But again, and tomorrow night, Thursday, and I know you guys look forward to this Thursday, April 9th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, is Johnny's Train Talk Show. Now, Johnny's Train Show is just like this, except you guys out there, like you guys, Wally, and you can come in. You can come in and be a part of it.
Oh, no kidding.
You know, yeah, you just mosey on time. You just mosey on down to John's General Store and you pull out a soda pop and you sit down in the chair and you talk trains. You talk trains. You bring and brag if you got something you want to show off, or if you got a situation on hand about a railroad thing that you want to talk about, you bring it to the Johnny's Train Talk Show. And we got somebody out there knows something about something, you know.
Right.
So you guys can come on. Anybody, you're all invited. Check out the link. That's tomorrow night, 9 p.m., Johnny's Train Talk Show. And that's every Thursday, and that's what John gets together. And you guys can all talk railroad stuff and be a part of it. So with that said, I want to thank you very much, George and Wally, for being on there. I also want to thank George's dad, George, and Anita, even though they're absent from being on the live show. They were part of the show because they were on the, what do you call it? I want to say, you guys take care. God bless. All right. Be safe out there. Everybody out there in the community, thanks for tuning in, because if you didn't tune in, we'd be talking to dead air. I want you guys out there to be safe, be careful, but most of all, I want you to be blessed and know that you're under his protection. So good night, take care, and we'll see you guys on the radio.